Because he doesn't know that you're waiting for him.
Look at how happy he is.
That's why it's a surprise.
Let me show you him.
Is that you?
Okay.
Is that you?
It sure is me.
It sure is me. There you are.
And the nookies. Ooh, I need to see that. Oop.
You want to do like this so you can see yourself.
Say to them.
You see that?
It's Abby hasn't.
The red means it's on. It's recording. You see that?
How about push the red button?
I push it up here. I push it. See? Wait. Is he coming? Is he coming? Is he coming?
He was coming out soon.
It's on the phone.
Hi, everyone. Hi. It'd be very quiet.
What you gonna say? What are you gonna say? Guys, gotta look at him and say it.
Hi. Everyone. Hi. Very quiet.
Where is he? Go see where he is.
At the
Where is he?
He's at. He's gonna be almost here. It's
Go look. Is he here?
hi. Sorry. Everybody, hi. I had to be very quiet. Ooh.
Wait. I'm taking a picture of you. Oh, I think he's coming.
We had to be. Harry, we had to hide. There he comes. Hi.
Mr. President, Marilyn Monroe.
Happy birthday to you.
You're supposed to be sick.
Birthday, Mr. President. Happy birthday to you.
I think the word JFK used was wholesome. Well, hi, everybody. Hey, Bessel.
Where's the kitchen
All right, guys, can go now.
Bobby Duck.
Disappointed, George?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
we're looking at Grandpa. Here, look at Grandpa.
Everybody, cheese. I had to push the button. Look.
Go give Grandpa a hug. Go give Grandpa a hug.
Look.
I'm gonna take a picture. Go give Grandpa a hug. Go.
It's a good Okay, thank you. Okay, everyone, let's take a picture of him. Say cheese.
Follow rules of evidence.
Look at Grandpa. Look at Grandpa.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't see.
You see, Grandpa's right there.
Oh, the red water or the
That's
green?
Grandpa right there. And all the other people. You see all the other people?
This one's up there. Oh, wow. Watch.
Taking pictures? Good. Thank you.
Look at that. Are you gonna take pictures of cake? Wait. I think he's strong. Don't you?
He is, yeah.
Push this button.
He just doesn't know. Go give him a big hug.
I will.
And I'll take pictures. Hey, you forgot that.
Totally. He didn't recognize you. He didn't recognize him.
Remember me from
We
Halloween?
went to her house on Halloween to go trick or treating.
The very nice witch.
Remember?
No? I should have worn my hat.
Yeah. You tell me happy birthday? Well, thank you.
You want to take a shot?
Becoming a photographer.
Okay, why not?
Let's take a picture.
So Kiki,
Hey.
by the firm today, and I said, I'll pop in on Henry, see what he's doing on the case.
It's not there.
I just went to the parking lot, turned around, drove off.
Oh, but I told you Sunday I was going to be there.
I know, but if you were serious about trial prep, you'd be there today.
Some things don't change, right? Some things don't change.
Well, he knows I'm kidding.
But you weren't 20 years ago at the Willer firm.
Ooh. Say happy birthday.
How is Einbach?
Happy birthday, Uncle. Happy birthday, Grandpa.
You know who I ran into
Say
indirectly? I
happy
still haven't seen her.
birthday.
My wife does business with Judy London's brother.
Oh,
And so one of these days I'm going to run into her.
so now we're taking, you see it says red over there? Now we're taking video. It's live. You want to go give him a hug? And I'll take a picture. Go. Give him a hug. There we go. Yeah, I took that.
Oh, whoops. Mel's
play it back, maybe?
This one's too high.
There you go. That's a good idea. Yeah. You want to play back that when you give your dad a hug? Let me play it back. Hold on.
Special guest here for George's 70th, and I hope you enjoy. I'd like to introduce Brian Byrne, who's Mr. Rock and Roll, who's got a few words for you.
Hello there. Well, yes, I am that Brian Byrne. Some of you may have listened to me on KRS 101 over the last 35 or 40 years. I spent almost 30 years there, and I understand that George likes doo-wop. Doo-wop is very close to my heart. That's been, I've had the great pleasure of playing all kinds of music in the last 50 years, and just had the pleasure of working with just about everybody and their brother and their sister. Often more fun working with their sister, but that's another story. But doo-wop was always really the closest thing to my heart. Now, to give some of the younger members here a little history of doo-wop, all of the vocal group era really essentially began back in the 1930s with a group called the Mills Brothers. That gave way to a marvelous group called the Ink Spots in the late 30s and 1940s, led by a gentleman by the name of Bill Kinney, who was just a fabulous lead singer, and I had the distinct pleasure of working with him many decades ago, and what a voice. Well, next came a group out of New York that took the Ink Spots and the Mills Brothers sound a whole step further and added a touch of what really would become rhythm and blues and doo-wop. They were called the Ravens. The Ravens were the first of the Bird groups. You're going to hear a little bit about the Bird groups in a second. Now next came the Orioles. The Orioles were led by a fabulous gentleman by the name of Sonny Till. They had a marvelous record called It's Too Soon to Know, which was really the first of what is considered the great doo-wops. They also did a song that I'm sure many of you have heard called What Are You Doing New Year's Eve, that everybody and their brother has done. And they were the first to have credit with that particular song in 1949. Now, we mentioned the Bird groups, and just to give you, I sat down last night with my memory and said, let me see how many of the great Bird groups that I can think of. We had the Pelicans, the Swans, the Parakeets, the Crows, the Flamingos, the Penguins, the Swallows, the Larks, the Cardinals, the Robins, and the Wrens, just to name a few. So everybody got into
And the birds. How about the birds?
And the birds? That's a whole other. That's apples and oranges here.
The Birds are not a bird group.
Just like old times, George. Thank you very much.
Not idiot, pendejo.
1954, one of those bird groups, the Crows, were credited with really having one of the first real great rock and roll records called G. Now, the vocal group era continued with doo-wop right on through the 1950s and early 1960s. In the early 60s, a lot of the groups decided to add string sections to the music. So they would take a lot of the old standards from the 30s and 40s, put string sections behind it, and have some marvelous songs. And tonight, well, we're going to take you back to that gentle period of time that, back when we had drive-ins instead of drive-bys. Back to when the world and the music was a whole lot of fun. Back to when I had a head of hair that rivaled only Fabian's. But I still have more than he does today. So, George, for your birthday, please welcome, it is twilight time. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the Twilights.
You saw me standing. No, you gotta go sit down now. Without a kick in my heart.
You're not the Twilight?
Without a me sing a prayer for someone I really care for. And then there's something up here for me, the only one I could ever hold. I heard somebody whisper what told me, and when I now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my
Now, if you want to be in the twilights, you have to be able to do this. Boo.
Well, that song goes back to the early 1930s, actually featured in a motion picture starring Dick Powell. And of course, nobody did it like the Marcells would do it in the year 1961 with their doo-wop version. Everybody and their brother sang it down through history, including Elvis, who did a haunting version of it. This particular song goes back to 1957. It was written by a fellow by the name of Charles Quick, who was the leader of the group. The guys cut it actually in the basement of a room in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They couldn't quite get the sound that they were looking for, so what they did was put the bass man, Crip Johnson, and another gentleman in a closet and opened the door halfway, and thus got this perfect sound on a home tape recorder. The group was the Dell Vikings, which actually I had the pleasure of managing. The song was Come Go With Me.
Down, 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 wow, 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 wow. Oh, well, down, 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 come and go with me, down, 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 way beyond the city, down, 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 so come go with me, down, 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 come and jump party, down, 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 that will never party, my knees are down, down, so come down. Never, 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 never say you'll never know, oh my baby. When you say never, yes, you really never, you never give me a chance. So down, 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 come and jump party, down, 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 the party, down, 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 down. So come go with me down. Whoa, 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 whoa. Never, 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 never say never, no. When you say never, yes, you really never. You never give me a chance. So down, 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 coming down, party, down, 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 the party line, down, 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 down. So come down with me, down, 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 coming down with me, down, 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 coming down with me, down, 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 come on along with me, wow, 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 wow.
Bravo!
Probably one of the most popular records of the entire 1950s. It really epitomized the whole era. It's also the greatest #2 record of all time. It spent 8 weeks in the #2 spot.
Wow.
This is kid by the name of Presley that held the #1 spot, and these guys just could not get a #1 record. The group was out of Canada. They were called the Diamonds, and the song is Little Darling.
Oh, wait, no, wrong.
John.
Wrong genre.
Fellas? Yeah. Come. My darling, I need you all my own and never do wrong. To hold in mind your little hand. I know too soon all is so grand. Please hold my hand. Don't encourage
That song. Now, one of the most popular groups of all time was a group that started in 1953, led by a lead singer by the name of Clyde McPhatter. He had just left a group called Billy Ward and the Dominoes, and he got together some other guys. They had essentially, well, drifted together, so they became the Drifters. They would go through a number of lead singers down through the years, Rudy Lewis, of course, Benny King, and Johnny Moore, who was with them many times. This particular
Oh, when the sun beats down and burns the tar up on the roof, and your shoes are so hot you wish your tired feet were fire. Under the boardwalk, under by the sea, all the friends with my baby, where are you? Under the boardwalk, out of the sun, we'll be having some fun. Under the boardwalk, and people walking the bus. Under the boardwalk.
Out of the Belmonts, who took their name from Belmont Avenue in the Bronx. A couple of years later, after several of their hits, Dion decided to go solo and wrote a song with a friend of his about a girl. Now, it was all about a girl by the name of Sue, who actually he eventually married a gal by the name of Sue, but not this particular one. This was written about another girl that, well, he wasn't so fond of.
He's got a great voice, doesn't
Her
he?
name was actually Roberta, but the song came out right
It's like listening to the radio. He's the guy from the radio. Okay,
I get paid
okay.
for this. Just
Yeah.
sit here and talk.
Yeah.
Here's my story. Oh my goodness. Oh, George knew a Sue. Look at him. George.
He's tripping out.
With every single guy in town. Hey, hey, come on now. Hey, whoa, whoa, hey, la, 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 hey, 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 whoa, from the very start, baby, from my heart. Hey, what I'm telling you, keep away from around Sue. Yeah, it's a kiss and a smile on your face, the touch of the hair of this girl's on the face. So if you know I'm trying like I do, we'll keep away from around Sue. Hey, hey, oh, hey, oh. Hey, oh, she like to travel around. Yeah, she love you when she puts you down. People let me put you out. She goes out with other guys. Here's a man, hey, from the continent. Hey, my love story. Hey, what I'm telling you. Keep away from around Sue. Hey, hey, keep away from this girl. Hey, you know what? Hey, keep away from this. She like to travel around. Yeah, she love you and she puts you down. People let me put you out. She goes out with other guys. Here's a man, short from the guy you made. I fell in love and my love's for me. Anything that she ever needed, keep away from around. Yeah. Whoa, 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 hey.
Oh!
Well, we stay in the year 1961. This became one of the most popular records of all time. It's been featured in many motion pictures and, of course, in The Lion King. The song goes back to 1951. It was an old South African Zulu chant, and originally released as Weemaway by a group called the
I like that.
Eventually, get some new lyrics and be rewoven by a group called the Tokens in 1961 into The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
I may need some help on this one, so. Everybody's done.
Yeah, help him out. Cinch it up, Skip.
Good thing I'm wearing a mask. Is it all right if I drink out of this?
Here it goes. There you go. That was my class. Michael Jackson.
That's what happens when you wear shorts too sizes.
Thank you, Haynes.
If you were to pick one record of the 1950s that really epitomized the whole vocal group era and doo-wop, this would probably be the one. Continually, year after year, it's voted the #1 record of all time in New York City. It was written one night while the lead singer, a gentleman by the name of Fred Paris, was on guard duty in the Army, and he was looking up on a dark night and the moon out there, just like Mr. Moon here tonight, and wrote a song called In the Still of the Night. He formed a group called the Five Satins, and this was their classic.
Shoulda, shoulda-doo, 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 in the still of the night. Cause I love you so. Promise I'll never let you go. In the still of the night. In the still of the night. Well, I remember that night was night. Thus I remember. And I remember your precious love. So before shove it up, shove it up me again. With all of your might, shove it all the night. In the still of the night.
See, this is part of American culture you guys missed.
I know
You do? From where?
listening to
I remember that I remember the stars. Remember, oh, I remember.
George, go dance with Betty.
Your precious love.
She'll live.
Yes, but with you.
in the still of the
Thank you, Rusty.
We move ahead a little bit to the year 1958. 1958, there was a recession. Well, we kind of all know about recessions now. In fact, I called my stockbroker the other day. I said, what should I buy? He said, guns and ammunition. I don't know. Different times today. The year 1958, with the recession and all, there was a group of guys out of Philadelphia, and one of them said, you know, I know what's happening here. I got an idea to write a song. We need to get a job. The group was the Silhouettes, and the song went all the way to number one. Wow.
Yip, 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 bum, 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 bum,
Sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la. Well, every morning about this time she gets me out of bed and I ain't get a job. Yes, after breakfast every day she knows I want to drive away. I never felt safe. Sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la. Well, then when I get the paper,
The words are so eloquent.
and my girl never fails to see if there is any work for me. I gotta go into the house, hear the woman bounce, reaching and crying, tell me a lie about a job.
that I never could find.
Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na, yip, 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 yip. Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na. Well, then when I get the paper, I read it through and through, and my girl never fails to see if there is any work for me. You better go into the house, hear the woman bounce, reaching and crying, tell me a lie about a job.
That I never could find.
Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na, yip, 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 bum, 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 bum. Sha-na-na-na, sha-na-na-na-na, get a job. Sha-na-na-na, 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 sha-na-na-na-na. Good job, y'all.
I've been crying. The deployment's bad now.
My father told me that for 40 years.
Now, that, ladies and gentlemen, is doo-wop. Of course, if you heard the Sha-Na-Na, that is where the group Sha-Na-Na would eventually take their name from, was listening to this great number one song. Talk about great songs, this one is near and dear to my heart because I worked with the original group countless times. And we go back to April 1954. Some kids in Fremont High School in Los Angeles. They record this in a garage. They put a piano in there, and the great Jesse Belvin was on the piano for the session because he was always in the neighborhood. The song became really one of the great songs of all time. The group, well, it was the first group, the Penguins, and the song is Earthing.
Oh, Earth Angel, would you be mine? My darling dear,
I love you all the time. I'm just a fool, awful in love with you. Earth angel, the one I adore.
I think she's sending
Love you forever and never.
I think you should dance with George.
I think so.
I'm just a fool.
Go for it.
Sway to the music.
Make it to her. Yay!
I fell for you,
Doing a slow mo.
and I knew the vision of your love, loveliness. I hope and I pray that someday I'll be the vision of your happiness. Oh, whoa, earth angel, the one I adore. Love you forever and evermore. I'm just a fool, awful in love with you. I fell for you. Would you be mine, my darling dear? I love you all the time. I'm just a fool, awful in love with you.
George.
Rusty Twilight, everybody. Rusty Twilight. Nice job, Rusty.
And Cleve Duncan, the lead singer, is still out there today singing Earth Angel and sounds as good as ever. We stay in 1957 now, and this is an LA record. There were two versions of this that came out at the same time, and there was an interesting reason why. This gentleman, Thurston Harris, was in the studio recording the song, and next door was a fellow by the name of Bobby Day, who would eventually give us Rockin' Robin. He heard the song and said, gee, that's so good, I'm going to steal that sucker too. So he recorded it the same day in the next room after listening to Thurston Harris. The song was called Little Bitty Pretty One. You probably heard it on commercials today. Gentlemen?
Little bitty pretty one, come on, talk to me. Lovey one, from this on my knees. Tell your story, happened a long time ago. Little bitty pretty one, I've been watching you grow. Little bitty pretty one, come on, talk to me. Lovey one, come sit upon my knee. Take it, girl. Come on, everybody, help us out. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Out there.
He's the one walking around.
Everybody's pointing at the jacuzzi.
Right here, young man. Right here. Right here for you.
Come on, George, sit. Yeah.
Well, the group that made this famous immigrated first in the 1950s out of New York, and they were called the Crest, led by a gentleman by the name of Johnny Maestro, who just left this song. Well, gentlemen, I'll leave it to you.
Happy birthday, baby, oh, we love you so.
Yeah.
16 candles, make a lovely life, but not as bright as your eyes tonight. Blow out, make your wish come true. For I'll be wishing that you love me true. You're only 16, and you're our teenage queen. You're the prettiest, loveliest girl we've ever seen. We've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
70 in our hearts will glow forever and ever, 'cause we love him so, 'cause we love him so.
You can't leave the party. You can just.
No, I won't leave that down. 16 plus 54. That's right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed the Twilights. These gentlemen have opened for the Drifters, Little Anthony and the Imperials, Chubby Checker, all kinds of groups over the years. And we close with, well, the closing song of all time. It was April 1954. The bass man was incredible. His name was Gerald Gregory. The lead singer.
Could we get him?
Put a lot of pressure on a guy, Brian.
He's
Sorry,
already
Rusty.
booked, but Bookie Hudson was the lead singer. The guys didn't want to. They were just. They said we're out of birds. We just can't find another bird group, so we're going to be the Spaniels. The song, of course, is "Good Night, Sweetheart, Good Night."
Dip, dip, da, dip, dip, dow.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart.
Oh, finally.
I hate to leave you, but I really must say, oh, good night, sweetheart. Good night. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, oh, good night, sweetheart. Good night. Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Baby, I just can't get things right. One kiss, darling, and I'll be going. You know I love you so. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart. Good night. Happy birthday.
But it never really got off the ground until about 3 weeks ago, when you guys got your invitations. Thanks to David and Jeffrey and Susan, who were instrumental in the planning, the preparation, the legwork, and the execution, the logistics of this day. But what we did really didn't matter. It didn't matter what we did without you, our friends and our family. And you wouldn't be here but for today, but for the friendship, the compassion, the caring, the wisdom, the humor, the good nature, the generosity, and the goodness, and the love that are, look at me, your gifts, and the gifts that you share and bestow on us. So we're here to thank you for sharing those gifts and talents, and to honor you and to celebrate with you your 70 years of life. And may God continue to bless you with those talents and good health. And here's to you.
Here's to you. Here, here.
Yeah, say cheers! Cheers!
And just for the record, I should have been in Seattle, and I'm pissed that I didn't get to go.
Reuben, it's raining up there.
I leave tomorrow morning.
So if anybody, the floor is open.
Bob? I'm just kidding.
What'd I do? I didn't think it wasn't me. It was him. No, I'm just glad that I didn't have to pay museum admission to see your 70th birthday. Next.
Well, I'd like to say a few words. As someone who has known George since high school. Yeah, we go back a long, long way. And the stories that I could tell you guys that make you laugh a lot, and also maybe cry some. George has lots and lots and lots of friends, because I think that there's a generosity and a compassion that's pretty unusual. When I think of George, among other things, or among other qualities, I think of a person that somehow gets into the shoes of the other person and can feel the pain or can feel the happiness. I mean, George will be saying how phenomenally wonderful this thing is, or how abysmally terrible that is. And when you've known him as long as I have,
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Well, how old are we? 13 years old, so it's
56.
There's a whole contingent of us here. And so I'd just like to say, George, thanks for the example. Thanks for the candor, for the challenge that you always have been, and that one way or another has made me better, and I would expect a whole lot of us better. So, George, thank you, and God bless you, and you're here.
Ditto.
Your tears. Good job.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks, Liz.
Well, I guess my little piece would be, thank you for all your support and help with my family when I'm done. So I'm home now, so you can leave.
Ruben, just don't go back to Afghanistan, please.
Yeah, for God's sake. That would be your third tour, right?
I have a
Fourth.
little toast to make, George. I've now known you for what, 20 years? 19 years? Lovely years. I think the world of you and Betty. I really do. Enough that I would name my child after the person I admire. My father, my father-in-law, and you. So I thank you for being there for Henry, for us.
More than
Thank you, George. We love you.
Ditto.
So whenever a male child is born, George always says, "Where's he?" And he will.
But there were many names I could have chosen.
But why crook? Yeah. Timing, George, timing.
All right, Ladron.
Oh, yes.
When George,
Edward Crook Tovmasian.
If only we had known. We could have named him that.
Very good.
when we were at Kirkuk, Tovmasian, and Fox, George used to go around saying, "We got a crook, we got a fox, and an Armenian."
And Rich Worm.
Yes.
I want to say a few words. George, and I'm Betty's nephew, the oldest son of her oldest brother. And there's always been a special place in my heart for Betty. When I was born, I think she
Oh, wait a minute, it's
well,
not her birthday.
Hold on. Something greater. And there, I distinctly remember the day when she called me at work and invited my partner David and I to dinner at their house. And George had been part of the family for a while. And I always saw them, you know, we would get together at big family functions and you know, I adored George and I adored Betty, or Betty Ann as we all refer to her. And since that dinner years ago, which almost seems like yesterday, I have grown so much in the love and guidance of this man who has always supported me, has been someone I could go to for any advice or to share any joy in my life, or to go to someone I could look to as a father figure, a friend, someone who in my life has been a rock. And I just want to say that I feel truly blessed that I have been able to enjoy his company as well as my aunts, and that they've accepted me and my partner David into their life and have always supported me as if I was their own child. So I want to thank you, George, because you have taught me a lot and you mean the world to me.
You have taught me a lot, Jeffrey, so thank you.
Thank you.
You're here.
You're here.
George and I'd like to thank you for the love and respect that you've shown to my kids great role model, and just for the time that you give them when they're around or you're around, and I speak for them, and I'm sure they appreciate it and love you for that. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Here, here.
You know, when I met George, I met Igor, George's brother, when I met John.
And my brother makes me look shy. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. And then I met your parents, you know, when I met Igor and he brought me over there and stuff. And so, one thing that's been really nice is and then when John retired from the Times, he went to work with George and for George. And so that's how we got connected to the Crooks again, even though we were in contact with George and his wife and his family. I mean, Igor and his wife and his family, but they weren't living here any longer. And so it's fun to still have a connection to the Crooks and to have a connection to your parents still, you know, because they were such delightful people. And so to have that Crook, you know, that Crook connection, this is really a really sweet thing to have.
Well, thanks.
And thanks for saving funds last year.
Oh, yeah. There was that.
Yeah, we had a real need for an attorney last year, a real strange turn of events in Texas due to.
We're not going back.
No, a mix up in all kinds of their records, and George was there. And so that, I don't know what we would have done without that.
Well, you won't.
It was a reason, I guess, for me to give word to begin with.
George and I were roommates in 1962, and which seems like a long time ago. And
it was.
And I admired him at that time. And after many years of not seeing him, I'm very happy to have you as a friend again, George, and to be here to celebrate your birthday with you, this 70th birthday. And I admire you more than ever.
Well, thank you, Dave.
Happy birthday, George.
Speech.
He's verklempt.
Oh, speech? Well,
I know the feeling.
Until a few days ago, I was thinking I'm about mentally and emotionally ready to turn 40, and now this happens. But I woke up on my birthday and I don't know how to say it, in the beauty of the smile of Herbert Ryan. And I'm just grateful to God because he invited me to share his existence and to be. And I think so much of my mom and dad, and my mom saying towards the end of her life that the words of the 23rd Psalm, surely goodness and kindness shall follow me all the days of my life, had been true in her life, and they have in mine, except to the degree that I've occasionally screwed it up. So I think being is a good thing. And I mean, just the idea that as a Catholic, that once God calls us to be, we are forever. We're already in eternal life, and as it says in Amazing Grace, you know, when we've been there for 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, and that's our destiny, to be bright shining as the sun. And I don't know, that's my thought. So as corny as it is, that's all I can say. Thanks. So where's Mia, man?
She's with the babies.
That's not good.
the cool thing about it is, it's so ridiculous. A whoop pop, a whoop pop. The bird groups. Little Anthony and the Imperials. Tectonic and the plates. MODOK and the pea planes.
Hey, where's your car parked? Because the pigeons are here to perform.
You know, when we were in Argentina, the president who died recently, this guy Kirchner, and his wife is now the president, he's from Patagonia. And Patagonia, you know, is pretty far down there. There's North Patagonia and there's South Patagonia. And it cracked us up because we read his supporters were called Los Pingüinos. and English doesn't quite do it, right? The penguins. But thinking of these guys tonight, these crazy groups with Nestor Kirchner y Los Pingüinos. With these Jersey boy kind of.
We went to this revival in Santa Ana one time, they downtown Santa Ana, they had a lot of the holy groups, and little Anthony and the Imperials were there, little Anthony is a little bit older, a little over the hill.
Now, little Anthony's a white guy, isn't he? He's the Peggy Sue, right? Or have I got some? No. Little Anthony, no, the Imperials would be in watch.
And the guy gets up there and he was going to try to do a split, but he split his pants on the stage. Another guy was the lead guitar player. He sat.
Was wheeled in.
He wheeled. It was second tier revival.
Did you have cake? Would you like some?